Aloha, my name is Matthew Combs, otherwise known as the STIG Man by some. I have been doing cybersecurity for the DoD for about 15 years now. I have experience ranging from the ISSO level all the way up to my previous job was equivalent to a SCAR. I have experience, doing CCRI preparations. I've done enterprise level virtualization and system administration. I do have experience kind of across the board dealing with RMF and CNA for the DoD. So I really want to kind of use my expertise to help others understand some concepts about this, to make things a little bit easier because there seems to be a lot of confusion. So this video is going to be part one of a series in relation to STIGs. This will be the 101 series courses to kind of help people understand how they apply, where to get them, etc. With that in mind, I am making this video based upon some Air Force requirements. Anything that I label as a DoDI or reference as a DoDI or DoDM in relation to STIGs will apply across the board regardless of your component, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, etc. But if I bring up Air Force instruction or AFI, then those only apply to the Air Force side of the house. So please keep that in mind when you're thinking about it. You should have something that is equivalent for every branch of the service. I just don't know exactly what they are called across the board. I'm sorry. As a side note, this video was made while I'm unemployed. For professional courtesy, if you are going to use these videos for training new personnel or, as part of a curriculum that you use to train students, please send me an email. The address is in the description so that I can keep track of who's using it. I'm not going to charge people for it or anything at this time, but I do want to keep track of who's using it so that if I need to make a change to any of these videos, I can send a quick email out and say, hey, look, I need to fix this, or this is a problem and this is incorrect, so that you aren't training people incorrectly. So you're giving them the most up-to-date or best information that you have as well. If there is any additional information that I missed or you believe that I'm incorrect in what I have said, or you don't understand something and how I explained it, please leave a comment below or send me an email to that same address so that I can, reach out and we can discuss it. I can help explain it better, or maybe even rebuild the video if I need to kind of make it easier. So the first thing I want to talk about for this particular video is what are STIGs and who do they apply to? Well, STIG stands for Security Technical Implementation Guidance. Basically what they are is a checklist that will help harden your system, reducing the attack surface and the ease at which hackers can get in. And there's a lot of confusion behind them. So with these explanations, I'm hoping to kind of clear up and help people understand what they need to do with these things. One of the most common items that is used in your STIGs that you're going to see across the board is, like password complexity requirements. How you have to have your 100 characters and your bat symbol in every password now, right? Like that's a common thing that you will find in these STIG checklists. So a lot of the checks in these are not difficult, but they do take a little bit of time. So now we know what the acronym for STIG is and what their purpose actually is. So who do these STIGs actually apply to? And the too long didn't read / you didn't want to watch the whole video answer is everybody in the DoD gets to do these with some very small exceptions. Okay. So one reference I want to use is the DoD 8500-01. This does have the date of 2014, but this is incorporating the change from October 2019. So under enclosure 2, page 24, you see this says ensure that DoD IT under their purview complies with applicable STIG security configuration guides, SRGs, with any exceptions documented and approved by the responsible AO. So basically, it's for everybody unless annotated by your AO. And we'll kind of go into that in a little bit. The next one is the 8510. So this reference, enclosure 3, or page 12, section A, will be configured in accordance with applicable STIGs under an ISSM and SCA. So your ISSM will be the person that's validating or doing some self-validation of what STIGs are actually being done. And then the SCA will assess risk based upon those STIGs, but that's way too advanced for what we're trying to do here. So those are the two big ones. So one of the questions that comes up is, well, what's DOD-IT? DOD-IT is anything that was paid for using DOD money. It doesn't matter if you used a government purchase card. It doesn't matter if it's contracted out. It doesn't matter if it is operated by a third party. If it processes DOD data, is paid for by DOD data, is accessed by personnel through the DOD using CAT card, username, password, whatever, in service of the DOD, it is DOD-IT. Okay, so now we know what STIGs are, we know who they apply to, and we know what DOD-IT is. So let's talk about the exceptions, how the 8500 mentioned the responsible AO allowing you to not have to do those STIGs. If this is a case, you'll typically see this in things like weapons systems and some medical devices. Now, I want to bring some caveats up to that stuff. First off, your weapon systems are things that directly support the weapons. You can't say that a server, like an inventory or a database server that just keeps track of how many bullets you have in your armory, is a weapons system. That's not a weapons system. We're talking warheads on foreheads type of stuff. Avionics that, you push a button to launch a missile, etc. The same applies with your medical devices. I worked with DHA for a while, and one of the things that a lot of people used to do, especially your healthcare providers or people that are not in cyber or IT, would try to tell me that everything that they touched was a patient care device or FDA regulated, and that is simply not the case. Things like your EKG monitors or blood pressure checking, the balloon things, those are medical devices. And those kind of things is pretty well known that you typically do not apply STIGs to those items. And those are handled by different AOs. So the Air Force has its own weapons AO, and they define when a system needs to do their STIGs. For the medical device community, they have DHA. And DHA has their own component level requirements for when STIGs are required and when STIGs are not required. My previous job under that AO, the discussions that the SCA and I used to have was, when do we want to apply these? And typically we would, leave people away from having to do the STIGs if they were standalone IL2 information level 2 data, which is non-DoD, non-sensitive, non-controlled information, basically stuff that you could have on your home computer that wasn't PII or anything like that, right? And we would look at those kind of things and try to figure out do we really need to make them do those STIGs. If your AO has told you that you don't need to do the STIGs, I would keep a copy of that handy. It should be signed, but you should keep it either within EMAS as part of your RMF decision or somewhere where anybody could find it, just in case you have to go through, a CCRI or a SAB inspection or anything like that. Okay. The component heads, i.e. Navy, Army, Air Force guys, they appoint who these AOs are. And those AOs are assigned a specific area of responsibility, or AOR, where their job is to understand the risk and manage the risk for that particular item. So those do not carry over between. So if you had one AO, let's say you fell under the RAO, which was A6 AO, right? And you got moved to a different AO because there was rescoping, that doesn't mean that you still don't have to apply STIGs. They may tell you you need to do it, and that is well within their right to do. And it's not really something you'll win. Okay, so I want to go ahead and talk about the AFIs. So you have a couple of AFIs that we're going to look at. You have AFI 17101, and I'm not going to pull that up. The reason is because it's currently being rewritten. However, within that talks about the responsibility of who's supposed to do the STIGs, and it mentions the ISSO doing that. Now, your ISSO is just somebody that's appointed as an ISSO. Your ISSO, as long as they fulfill the requirements for 8570 or 8140 is the new one coming out, or has been actually put out now, can do those. Your ISSM should not be doing these things. And then you have the AFI 17130. When I was last working back in December of 2019, I thought that they were going to include that as part of the 17101, or maybe the 101 was going into the 130. So you're going to have to wait for some of that to come through, but these DODI and the DODIs actually cover the requirements of it. So any DOD IT is required to do their STIGs, all applicable STIGs, unless annotated by the AO. So the AO may accept the risk of you operating with no STIGs, but it is not a guarantee. And whatever the SCA tells you is probably what the AO is going to go with. So reach out to your people. I can't tell you who those people are. We had security control validators as our people that were the front line between the SCA and the customer. You had subject matter experts in other areas is what they were called, but you need to talk to those guys who are going to do your ANA, your RMF decision. Under the Air Force requirements, no system can get an RMF decision from an AO other than the Secretary of the Air Force's Chief Information Officer if they have open and unmitigated Cat 1 vulnerabilities. STIGs contain Cat 1 vulnerabilities. So if you're not doing them, or if the AO has said, oh, well, you don't really need to do them, I'm not positive they actually mean you don't have to do them at all. You may need to do just the Cat 1s. And those are just the big ticket items. I don't really want to go into this. So this video has been about 12 minutes long. Please leave a comment below, like and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.